In 2025, 831 million people experienced conflict. They live in one of the 168 countries monitored by Armed Conflict Location and Event Data and represent 1 in 6 people who live there. Here's what drove conflict in 2025 and who was behind it. In 2025, ACLED tracked more than 200,000 conflict events in these 168 countries. Over 40% of those events happened in 2 places, Ukraine and Palestine. Europe saw the sharpest rise in violence. The war in Ukraine reached its highest levels of violence since Russia invaded in 2022. This year, Russia scaled up its offensive and directed more violence against civilians. The Middle East is another story. The fall of the al-Assad regime in Syria and tentative ceasefires in Gaza and Lebanon pushed violence down by nearly half from 2024 highs. But ACLED still ranks Palestine as the most dangerous place in the world, and Syria ranks 3rd after Myanmar. In 2025, ACLED tracked conflict events in nearly 70% of Gaza and the occupied West Bank. Virtually everyone there is exposed to violence. Conflicts in 2025 killed over 240,000 people, a conservative estimate. A third of those deaths occurred in Ukraine, followed by Sudan and Palestine. About a quarter of the conflict events in 2025 were directed at civilians, not combatants. That trend has been climbing in recent years. In 3/4 of all violent incidents worldwide, states were directly involved. 2 countries stood out for harming civilians, Israel and Russia. Together, they account for nearly 9 out of every 10 cross-border state attacks on civilians. Meanwhile, armed groups and mobs were responsible for the majority of reported civilian deaths in 2025. In the first 11 months of the year, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces in Sudan killed more than 4,200 civilians. That's over 1 in 10 of deaths caused by non-state armed groups globally. The actual number is likely far higher. The weapons of war are changing too. Hundreds of armed factions, from state forces to paramilitary groups, have deployed drones in attacks at least once in the past 5 years. Dozens adopted the technology for the first time this year. With modern warfare, there is nowhere to hide, and increasingly, there's nowhere to go. The collapse of humanitarian systems in many conflict areas has left millions of civilians trying to escape without a lifeline.